خزيانة مخبش لا مالوخن أها إلى برس خزود عطوراي بتيول وانون شاروكينا هسو مقرون قاتوخن أها خرزة إجت إيتون جو خرزن إديو مدمغزيخ لوخن خشم لوقات خينة من شنش 84 أو ديش قل الشوبة جمديتة أريزونا بس بوشن أمر قمت خداسات أم برس خزود عطوراي بتيول هدية بتشوق نخم من دان اللقاط من شنشة 84 أو ديش قل الشوبة جو أريزونا.
So we had Kalu Sulaka, which Sulaka means Ascension Day, 39 days after Easter. So I'll give you a little brief history. So Jesus ascended 40 days after Easter. I think that's why we do it on 39 days. The idea is for little girls to dress up as brides because, like in the Bible, the church is the bride and Jesus was the groom, the bridegroom. And so back in the day, there was a man named Malek Shavita and his wife, we don't know her name, right?
No, I didn't.
She got a group of women together and they would dress as white and they would hand out provisions during an attack, so like food and water to the warriors. And basically men and women got killed, and that's when this holiday came into play. And this was like in 1401, so it's really old. Nowadays, it's mostly done in Atra, I think. Maybe here too, but we don't know of it as much. People would, the girls would dress up as brides and then they would go from like door to door and get like candy or sweets or whatever. And now, like I said, the majority of our group didn't know what it was. So our idea was to kind of get all the churches involved with it, maybe get all the parishes to create some sort of like a play that reenacts the whole story I was just saying. And yeah, do the battle, and then we can also get the little boys involved because they can pretend to be the warriors. And we said we can make it more well known by literally sending out kind of like a wedding invitation in a way to all the families. And yeah.
So they also have this tradition where they would tie a rope to like the strongest branch in the tree, and so people would climb the rope. So obviously we wouldn't do that on like our church ground. So we thought like just even having everyone tie like a rope to the tree to kind of symbolize Scottsdale would be a good way to like celebrate.
The idea was like they're climbing up, like ascending.
Yeah.
So in any way that they would be able to, whatever variation they want to use, where they're climbing something. Because different, I guess, villages do it in different ways. That's an idea.
So our group had Somika, which is one of the least popular Assyrian holidays nowadays, but it's an awesome holiday that we should keep going. Somika is Somika. If you're from Atra, it's Somka. And so it's celebrated the night before Lent, Soma, Gura, Easter. And basically what happens is a bunch of young adults, which is, I'll get to the explanation of what we came up with, dress up in costumes. So Dan, you'd love this. And you get together and you go to a number of households that have their door open for you. And you dress in costume, you dance, you sing, and you educate the children, or the kids, to do Soma. And if they break it, then these people will come back, because sometimes there's like a scary concept to it. So you scare the kids into doing Soma. And then in return, the households give you money or food and sweets to sort of bribe you away from coming back to scare their kids or to take their kids from breaking Soma. So the three traditions to revive is dressing up in Halloween. It's basically the Assyrian Halloween, by the way. Dressing up in Halloween-like costumes, going to Assyrian homes, dancing and singing, and encouraging children to fasting. Encouraging children to fast. So the idea that we sort of thought about was every year on the Sumika, each youth organization or group of youth can, the night before Lent, go out and get like 20 youth members and dress up in costume, choose 5 to 10 households, and basically go out there and do the whole thing that I just explained, dance, sing, scare the kids into doing Soma, and then it could also be a fundraiser where those households donate money to your youth organization. It's not going to be that much money, but it could be a way of reviving it, as well as understanding that that's the old tradition was they would give them money. And so each group would record the whole thing, and then we would post it on YouTube and make it go viral. What do you guys think?
Which means April 1st is the Assyrian New Year's, and the connection we had to it is that like it's our New Year's. It doesn't have it has lots of meaning. It's not just a calendar date, and we grew up knowing that it was a special time. The three traditions that we would revive was having a 10-day celebration like they do back home, and move that to the West, and then we'd have a parade in every city and state, something that non-Assyrians would recognize and notice, and then one other tradition was called the Bearded Spring, where we gather flowers and herbs and make a wreath and hang it outside our door, and then and that's basically it.
All right, and after Nisan, or is Nusayr. So just to give you guys a brief explanation, we had to do some research on the history because apparently it used to be a pagan holiday. I knew it, and I knew some of the other members in the group knew it as a church holiday. So apparently it was called Musaddel, and what it was when the people in our empire were trying to get blessings by the king, they would wait for him to come out and throw water on them, and that would be like a sign of receiving blessings from the king. So that water was a symbolization of blessings, and it just so happened that later on when we became Christians, that water is still a symbolism of us being, born into Christ. So we didn't know if we deemed it irony or parallelism between our cultural and our religious roots, but for the faithful, they would say it's all part of God's purpose, that this water is still being symbolic, because once our king threw water on us, and now our God threw water on us. Anyways, from the church perspective, it is celebrated on the first Sunday of summer, and we recognize that every year. And what we do is, obviously we have the kids play, and they have water fights, and we bring, water to the park, either behind the church or the backyard. And then we were just talking with memories about it. But anyways, to go to the questions now. So we basically connected it as a fun time of water fight celebrations, and now it's a religious ceremony that's commemorated every year. And we didn't find three traditions that we can be revived and celebrated, but we did come up with an idea to unite all of the Christians that do celebrate it on the eastern side. So we wanted to do something with the Chaldeans, the Maronites, the Shavaya, the Syrian Orthodox, and the rest of all the Christians on the eastern side, and get them together. We call it the Summer Water Festival. And then what we would do is we'd have it advertised on A and B. And we would charge people a small fee, and it would be in this big field, and they could come and stock up with water balloons and water guns, and then just play all day and call it a huge water fight. And yeah, that's it.
So we had the 1915 genocide. So who doesn't know the genocide? What happened to the genocide? Okay, I'm pretty sure everyone knows. Very cool. So it's celebrated April 24th. The questions were, what connection do you have to this holiday? our families have been affected by it. Like I'm pretty sure everyone here has like grandparents, mothers, whatever, sons, daughters. Everyone press on stories and stuff, right, about what happened back during the genocide and their parents, how they were treated. So it affects us that way, and it's negative, right? And, it's never a good thing to hear like innocent people were just being killed for no reason. So I mean, that's how it affects us. What 3 traditions that we revived? So we said community gatherings in the church. We do that for like and stuff like that. So we can do that for April 24th. As well as social events. Have people actually come and talk about it. Elders or whoever is knowledgeable on that topic, they could come. And then in the space below, describe whatever. So we said one thing we could do is, everyone knows about the Armenian and the Greek genocide, but everyone knows about the Armenian and Greek genocide, right? But not many know about the Assyrians were affected as well. So what we could do is have a march. Everyone around the world, we get the organizations, have a march, and like in the main cities like in Arizona, we do like Phoenix or something, Chicago, LA, and just have a march. And that way, not only does it show, hey, we're affected too, but it tells like, it pretty much shows Turkey, hey, we're still here, we're still talking, we're not gonna shut up. So that's one way we can do it. Movie screenings, we do movie screenings as well, like kind of like The Promise with the Armenian genocide that just came out. We do something like that, and then maybe we could set up an annual visitation to the homeland, just to show. I feel like that way, we feel like that way, actually people will connect, instead of, this is so long ago, it's over, 100 years ago. But like when they go and actually see like, the homeland and stuff, when they actually go and see the homeland and stuff, they're all, they actually see like what happened, and there's gonna be like tour guides and stuff like that. So that was our answers to these questions, I guess you could say.
السلام عليكم. أنا أيون زومايا من خليادة ديالوب عليهم كنت أطراية من أطرد بيت نهرا أسيريا عراق. فقادو ترابا قرتلا بكي ترابا من نوخن وشاوي نيد بليشان ديما فقادو ترابا قرتلا طالي إديو تاون شوتكن عموخن شمت خيادة قودوا يوت صمت غزاين خمنيانا من عليمن برينا قودوا أطرد نخراية إن أتلي أو خبا قومتا قليشانا قهيايوتا ديان أتلي هيوي دي يصير على بأطرا قادو ترابا قرتلا طالي خيلتا لهاوي تمنتيانا واخنا اتولان خمنيانا من يالوبن من عليمن بيوت حضري ولا خاين عرفت باشمتلا يديتو اي كنواتن قواترا دفينا اب فيزا لهم صايد شقلق إنقا نخرايا قدنا دي شقيل اطرا من برابها السنة الي بها من قمت مشارا قلت خيادة اتلقى ريبورتاج شوه 8 دقيقة الى بليشان تيما والخان خيادة ديالوبي الى شد استا بخمسة بترسة شد ألبو وترامو وتشوخا بأطرا وقربت أطرا هذه بس أول ريبورتاج مقصد كل خانا هلو مارت بجلويدا قمديت نهرب شدت ورا شو لعمت يرخط إشتا من برده قاب هاويلي ختمة من هرياته كل خانا متنايا من برده ولو ماذا ونخمن يقو هاويلي خمن دي جوبنا
شوخا وماذا شو الأسايا وديت نهرب شو تبلبي أقودا من يعلوب من وعلينا وبطل وراشق أشياء وعموك إذا هلومادا ميدا شوتك وكاسا قاوايا وخرزة قبيل تريشانوت الخويادا منيش.
This panel, we're going to be presenting the work being done by Assyrians to develop a self-help, self-reliance capacities. It builds on analysis that 1 century of lobbying in advocating for Assyrian rights has failed to produce real results. Assyrians must begin to explore and innovate ways of organizing globally to survive and one day thrive in Assyria as well as in the diaspora. We have our esteemed Michael Uesch here, who's the lead researcher and coordinator, and Martin Umaran, the president of AANF, as an early adopter of Assyrian global governance, and this will talk about the updates since last year's presentation. Further ado.
President Martin Umaran that could gaha wala marzuya bi Pelkhanu Barayuta, how progressive he is and where we want to go as the Assyrian nation, especially in diaspora. I want to also thank Joe, the coordinator on the education program, for always helping to fit this in and make this a successful agenda. So Aya Ilacha update on Assyrian global governance. But before I can get into the update, I'm also going to do, it's not a repeat, but just a refresher on what is the foundation behind Assyrian global governance. One of the terms that I've been trying to introduce every time I talk about Assyrian global governance is the words sapere ode. Sapere ode is a Latin term, and it literally means dare to know. But what it means functionally in language is have the courage to face the truth. And let's face it, there's one thing fundamental about human nature. We often don't want to face the truth if it's something we don't want to hear. And so the message is that we have to accept the fundamental truth that Assyrian actions over 100 years, a century of genocide, have failed us. We have invested in a failed methodology. And we have to have the courage to face this truth. If we don't, we will continue to invest ourselves as the Assyrians, especially in diaspora, in a mode of global organization or non-organization that continues to render us hapless victims in the face of our enemies. And so I always frame this on two conceptualizations. The Assyrian question as foreign determination and the Assyrian question as self-determination. In Chicago, we had the esteemed Professor Joseph Yap presenting on his research on a century of genocide. And as a young man, no longer a young man, but as a young man, I still remember getting my first copy of his famous book, The Assyrian Question. He was lecturing in Chicago in the 1980s. We all got that. And I remember that was the first book. And what did that introduce me to? The Assyrian question as foreign determination. The entire premise of the book and the entire premise of that understanding is that our cause needs to be pursued as a demand for our rights from others. What are our rights? Let's appeal to Washington, D.C. Let's appeal to the United Nations. Let's appeal to Paris and London. The Assyrian question as foreign determination. That is the failed methodology. And Sapere Odi, in this paradigm, is meant to get us to shift what's hardwired in our minds as Assyrian activists from the Assyrian question as foreign determination, someone helping us, to the Assyrian question as self-determination, meaning we help ourselves. And I'm only going to use one anecdote that I've used before to transition to the update. We invested as a nation countless hours, days, in fact years, sadly, in getting genocide recognition. We invested so much in having Western powers label what's happening to us as genocide. And on March 17, 2016, then Secretary of State John Kerry said, "My purpose in appearing before you today is to assert that in my judgment, Daesh is responsible for genocide against groups in areas under its control, including Yazidis, Christians, and Shia Muslims." We got genocide recognition. On the very same day, a State Department spokesman told the Washington Post, State Department officials, quoting from the article, State Department officials said that the finding imposes no new obligations beyond what is already being done by that it could galvanize other countries to step up the battle against the Islamic State. On the same day that genocide was finally recognized, something we all invested in, the very same government authority said, despite recognizing genocide, it doesn't obligate us to do anything more. In fact, we don't intend to do anything more than what we're already doing. We just hope other countries will join the cause. We all invested in it. We all poured our hearts into genocide recognition. We all pursued the Assyrian question as foreign determination, and the return on investment was zero. So what is Assyrian global governance? It is the reorganization of the Assyrian nation globally to begin developing and exercising self-help and self-reliance, plain and simple. We call it Assyrian global governance. That's an umbrella name. But functionally, it means that whether this nation likes it or not, we have to pool our ingenuity, pool our resources towards a self-help, self-reliance capacity, just as any nation does. If we don't do that, we will not survive. The proof is the last century. The Assyrian question as foreign determination statistics are simple. Demographic decimation, further subjugation, increasing vulnerability and dependence on others. I don't see another outcome of the Assyrian question as foreign determination, and I continue to challenge anyone to prove my analysis incorrect. So why do we call it the Assyrian Global Governance Mandate? Human capital ingenuity without a mandate, minus a mandate, is a fail. Many people are phenomenally capable, phenomenally well-resourced to address the challenges, the political challenges that confront us. But just bringing good people together to have some good ideas has never produced an actual success. Whether it's ICANN, Rabbi Ivan Kakovich's plan, whether it's the Assyrian parliament that's ongoing right now, pooling people together to develop great ideas but without a mandate will always result in a failure. And I'm an empiricist. I do political science. I look for evidence. And I want to present to you the evidence of that. Where human capital with a mandate produces success comes from in this country itself. The United States, your Constitution for all the Americans in the room. Under the Articles of Confederation, this country was about to die, or certainly not survive. Under the Articles of Confederation, states were in a competition running themselves into the ground, were being exploited by French and British, and survival, George Washington himself couldn't marshal the militias to fight America's enemies at the time. Now, during the Articles of Confederation, your founding fathers, whether it was Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, they didn't start conversations in Philadelphia. They were having conversations all through these years. Some of the most unbelievable minds in human history. They had lots of good conversations, never produced anything. It wasn't until Philadelphia in 1787, America, that the states mandated those great minds to gather, produce their ideas, and feed them back. And even then, it was a deliberative process. It was an iterative process, meaning their proposals in Philadelphia were sent back to the states. There was a process of ratification. They weren't able to impose anything, but they didn't need to. They had a mandate. The states wanted them to gather and give them the solutions that they knew they desperately needed, but couldn't develop on their own. That was when success happened. The proof is in the United States today. So what does global governance look like? We don't know yet. It will be deliberated, it will then be decided, it will also evolve. But we need that mandate to even begin. We need that mandate to bring the people together who will develop the ideas to bring it to fruition. Then comes ratification, and then comes operation. So it is, again, shifting the Assyrian question as foreign determination to the Assyrian question as self-determination. It is the reorganization of our nation for self-help and self-reliance. But what it's really about is our own empowerment. Empowering ourselves and the end of victimhood. The vicious spiral of the Assyrian question as foreign determination is so self-perpetuating. We invest in appealing to others to deliver us from our oppressors. That's where we put our resources. Let's be empirical. It's time, it's money. It's an investment. There's an opportunity cost. Every $100 you spend in Washington, D.C. is $100 you didn't spend on yourself. Pursuing the Assyrian question as foreign determination. Every day in the nation's capital lobbying is a day you didn't spend investing in yourself. But it fails to help you. And so you're further persecuted. What's your reaction to the additional phase of persecution? More investment in the Assyrian, further appeals for help. This happens on an individual basis. I'm not a criminal psychologist, but in terms of battery, abuse, child victimization, the same patterns always display themselves. A sense of powerlessness, appealing to others for help. It has failed us. It will continue to fail us. We have to switch. So the mandate has been sent. The mandate, it's okay. The mandate has been sent to federations, organizations, and associations around the world. It's okay, Leila, it's not displaying well on the screen right now. It's okay because I'm not going to read the letter to you. What I'm trying to show you is that the Assyrian Global Governance Mandate is a letter that has gone out to Shota Puyate around the world and federations around the world. And in a nutshell, what it says, what signatories to this mandate are saying is, we acknowledge, we as a Shota Puta, as a federation, as an organization, as a Tukasa, we acknowledge that the Assyrian question as foreign determination is a failed methodology, and we are prepared to look towards the Assyrian question as self-determination. And it concludes with a very simple passage. It simply says, the Assyrian organization I represent confers its support for the Assyrian Global Governance Mandate, which will gather experts to develop innovative organizational design proposals in various fields relevant for Assyrian survival and growth, but especially pursuant to the goal of establishing a capacity for Assyrian global governance. This endeavor is founded upon the mandate granted by existing Assyrian organizations and federations, which will provide the legitimacy for and form the organizational pillars of global governance. But being a signatory to the Assyrian Global Governance Mandate does not prefigure support for a given set of proposals, merely the recognition of the need to develop the capacities described in this document, and will be shared for consideration, deliberation, consultation among signatories. What that means is the signatories to the mandate are not accepting a prefigured outcome. We don't know the outcome. What they're saying is, we understand that by signing on, we are open to these proposals, we are searching for the answers, and we will deliberate them when they're returned to us, and decide if we want to proceed. At present, the Assyrian Confederation of Europe, its entire executive, has signed on. The Assyrian American National Federation is one of the first signatories. The Assyrian Federation of Belgium, the Assyrian Federation of the Netherlands. In fact, right now there's a deliberative process going on with Sweden, Norway, and Germany, and I want to emphasize what I mean by that. In Sweden, just as anywhere, the Federation has said, we want to talk about this, we want to interview you, we want to read more, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We're actually looking for people who will be thoughtful about this. We don't want a simple signature. We want that engagement. And even on a subnational level, and I'm using this as a sample to show that it's a variety of organizations. The Assyrian National Council of Illinois, a standalone organization with its own resource base, is also one of the early signatories. On the other hand, you have the Assyrian Foundation of America, not affiliated, with any federation, and yet doing remarkable work in its way, has signed on. The Assyrian American Association of Southern California, and if you're on their mailing list, you would know exactly how active they are in terms of the Assyrian question as self-determination. In Sweden, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, but a variety of organizations have signed up, and that's just a sample. It's federations, but it's also independent associations and even affiliates of federations. And they will bring these conveners together who are experts in their field. And I want to illustrate this with the most simple language. I don't know if you know who Dr. Ephraim Yildiz is. Dr. Ephraim Yildiz is a professor of our language at the University of Salamanca who has developed a tertiary curriculum in Assyrian that has now been adopted by the European Union as the standard. An entire university curriculum. He's developed a standardized grammar text. Dr. Ephraim Yildiz would be a convener, just like a convener acts in an academic department. It doesn't make them the chairperson, it doesn't make them a leader. It simply means they're the ones capable of bringing the best minds in their field together, so that one day, hopefully, from California to Krasnodar in Russia, we have one Assyrian language curriculum that is developed and implemented as a governance mandate. I would be a convener, for example, in governance. My specialty is institutional design. I work on constitution writing, I work on constitutional operationalization, and when I say that, I mean that professionally. I've worked on it in sub-Saharan Africa, and I've worked on it in North America. And as I said, the process is deliberative and iterative, meaning it's shared with the signatories of the mandate so that they can engage it critically and decide if they want to proceed. So in 2 months, in approximately 2 months, the conveners will be meeting at the University of Salamanca. And at this point, I want to call President Martin Yumara to the podium, who's one of the early signatories. And even though global governance has not started, it can start in terms of practice. And he's going to talk about the Assyrian American National Federation's redirection to the Assyrian question of self-determination.
If we need to build ourselves and strengthen ourselves, work with each other to build for the future. So the couple things that we did to shift was to build ourselves. What we needed to do is establish ourselves again in America. We have a lot of organizations, organizations, AAA of Chicago, Assyrian Association of America of Chicago, of existence, وهلا بالخانة ومثل بنيانة ولوس أنجلوس وقرابة كان إتلان بنيانة وإتلان buildings and all the events دي إينا لنا مليانة أخنا مخونتا لخا نيشاني لقيت بلخخ مودال مايكل ماروا. It's important أخنا we determine our self-interest, we take care of ourselves. Ghana يمرخ Ghana قيانا نيشا ديان إلى قد بلخخ. They're going to specifically go for their interests. We need to go for our interests. And one, we are Assyrian. There's no question, no denying who we are. Our ethnic identity is being washed away, but we are Assyrian. We respect our Christianity. We are Christians, but we are Assyrian first, and never change that. I had a chance to go to Washington, D.C. represent Utah. We were being marginalized in DC, and they said one really point when Bayan Rahman, the representative of the KRG, said, if you know, because they're stealing our land, they're trying to do everything they can to make us leave, force the last people to leave. And it's happening in Syria, it's happening everywhere. We need to make sure that we build ourselves. We know a lot of the Assyrians are in the diaspora. We need to build ourselves, but never give up hope for our people back home. That's our ancestral homeland, we'll never give that up. So we have to focus that. Because what they said was, if we are so bad, why are Assyrians, or sorry, they didn't even say Assyrians, why are Christians staying in Kurdistan? And I will never call it Kurdistan. that's Assyria, that's occupied Assyria. To this day, it's Batnalan. It's our ancestral homeland. It's the home of Bab and Sawan and our ancestral forefathers, and we will never give that up, and that's everything there is Assyrian. But that doesn't mean we just hang on to there, but we need to build ourselves and strengthen ourselves here. So what we're trying to do is establish ourselves. So one, with the budgets that we have are limited. We've been funding and support. Thank you for coming and supporting the Federation and all of their events and our organizations all around the United States, because it's important that we need your support. We established an office that we're taking owners rental to have a headquarters where we are to start facilitating in Skokie. There's a reason why in Skokie. Skokie has a population of roughly 60,000, of which 33% are Assyrian. We have no city councilman, we have no representative, except for this year when we instituted and implemented Mr. Billy Haydu to be on the planning commission. We pushed that forward, and we're grateful to add more people there. But the reason is because we're 33% of the population, and we can't even fly our flag in Skokie. We can't even put our statue, our genocide statue that we're trying to put in the Heritage Park. That is why. They don't even respect us. So we made it a point. Assyrian National Council of Illinois is in Skokie. It's a big community there, organization. We also have Assyrian Universal Alliance Foundation in Lincolnwood, but we, as the Assyrian American National Federation headquarters office, our office starting in Skokie. And there's a reason for that, because we want to be where our people are, so we can be helping them. In Turlock, there are a lot more progressing there, and then other areas, because that's where the Assyrians are. It's important to be there. So how can we move forward and strengthen? So why we're in Skokie, again, we said we're 33% population, so public-private partnerships, development of an investment portfolio. We have to start looking, Sam David Mirwada include 40 acres in Turlock that they rent out to a farmer who has almonds and potatoes and farms. It's important to build investment revenue generating properties to develop ourselves as a community. We need the support of everybody to come together and build our base. We build ourselves here, and then we build our portfolio. I come from an investment background where it's important to build your assets, and then tangible assets, just like real estate and others, where you can also use for your community and help your people, but also connect with the government, that they're going to have to take if you're 33% of the population, there are resources that go to your people, that should go to your people. If we build our organizations to have them there, they have to provide by that, because that's our tax dollars going there. So we need that to come to our people to build ourselves. But also, local government engagement is important, because LA, Chotabutit LA, Southern California, is a main part of this, and so is New Britain, the association in New Britain, Connecticut, who also work with our local politicians, and in Chicago as well, that we try to work with our local politicians, establish our connection with them, so we can be the voices for our people. No longer can we stand and we allow individuals to work unilaterally on our issues. We need to come together as organization heads and leads. As Michael said, federations and organizations are important for this purpose, because we're established. We need to build our base. We need to go forward and establish our strengthening, and that's important, local strengthening. We need to connect with the people. So our financial reports and audits. So this is my first year as a president, and my goal is to have full transparency with everybody. We had $80,000 budget, $80,000 revenue that came in from last year and this year. Over majority of that funding, what we have left, what we have gone to helping our people, helping ourselves, not giving to any different things that are not necessary, but just focusing on helping our own people here in America and in Malta. So it's so developing to establishing ourselves in funding, in supporting our organizations and what we can do for our people programs and everything is important. But one thing, what we're trying to do here is have non-Assyrian voting members of the Federation, you the people, come give us your ideas and help us make Federation and the Assyrian community as a whole better. So we're including means to develop non-voting Assyrian non-voting members to contribute, to engage, building organizational linkage with Assyrian Art Institute of America. Is it of America? Is it Assyrian Art Institute? AAI. AAI is an important Nora bit Lacey, with Yusuf Lacey, by Basibta Teto. She is a part of ours as a partner of the Federation. And what we did is we reached out. We reached out to Assyrian Art Institute. We reached out to the Assyrian American Bar Association that this was established to build partnerships on strengthening our community with non-members within but to help us as a community. We needed them all to come together because our weakness is their strength, and we can be together and build for the future. And I thank you for being a part of it and look forward to many years of partnership and working together. The amendments that we're trying to make for the connections for the future. We have a constitutional convention this year. We stopped our meeting just so make sure it's important. So we're having constitutional amendments. One that we're presenting is global linkage with federations. So this year I invited all of the federation presidents. David, Assyrian Australian Federation, AANF, Assyrian Australian National Federation, and من Europe and زحمة budget wise and they're focusing on they're actually having a European convention in October, so they're focused on their budgets are limited, but we still have we're building a relationship. So it's not at the Syrian global governance to come together, be united, and work on things together as federations, because we were established in 1933, and we need to work with all of the federations around the world to help our people, and that's important. The other issue is the resources used for internal strengthening, and the third is decrying violations of our rights and never stay silent. We need to focus on strengthening ourselves. Like I said, we have organizations, we have opportunities, we need to have programs, we need to have youth, we need to have everybody join to make it stronger. There are organizations around the United States that you can it doesn't take a lot, because I'll tell you what, there are organizations working with a few people in Aduna Arab. So whatever you can do to help, join the organizations, and so we can strengthen ourselves. It's important everywhere we are.
You تو یقین یوم شاله جو خیام ترینی اوم نده یوم نده جو خیام ترینی
Hayati Sevenko.
بلدي رافق كله فهي بالناس بالخبرات لو يبين خبي بالخبرات لو يبين خبي قلبي ما شفت منه ما في شالي فيه امان امان اسمع ما الاخوان كيف الناس شيكاغو امان امان اسمع انا اسمع مش مريم لازم نخليكم امان 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 هذا ورق الموفي امان امان مرة امان امان هو امان 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 يا خزيمة رفعت شيكاغو Yeah. وسلام منا وانا للعادي كما بازت بشتوشو تخلق وسطي كما بازت بشتو تخلق خوان هدف هدياتي هدف هدياتي هدف هدياتي رشنا مني برشنا مني أكثر يماني رشنا مني برشنا مني أكثر يماني رابط عينه خلاف مني أكثر يماني رابط عينه خلاف مني أكثر سبق الله سأمري أمري مؤمري لا سبق الله سأمري أمري مؤمري علي بقول نبيا طمف الزمري علي بقول نبيا طمف الزمري رشنا مني برشنا مني أطري ماني رشنا مني برشنا مني أطري ماني ضابط عين خلاف مني خليش الله I'm going to go
خزيان مخبة على خبتها خلقوتها من زها خرزة وتسبق بيوخن شبتت بتايلة من يوم من عودة شلو برس خزود عطو رايبتي والآن وان شاروكينا هسو بمارون بوش مشانا وخيا أمتا عطو ريتا